let's load this outlier and see what's going on with this one. There's a couple of things that are different here. One, these look like they're reflected. Also, if you study the scan, it looks more like an MRI scan than a CT scan. If we review our input scans, it turns out that the training set includes both CT scans and MRI scans. So in this case, this one here is a CT scan, and anything numbered over 500 turns out to be a MRI scan. So that's problematic for a couple of reasons. So one, the different modalities doesn't lend itself to training a machine learning model, both of those data types. The differences between those is too significant. So the machine learning model needs to know that those are different modalities. The second thing is the orientation of the scans is swapped along the x-axis. So the left and right sides of the scans are actually swapped for the MRI scans relative to the CT scans. That's obviously a problem for medical data. So what we recommend in this kind of case is to actually pull out the MRI scans into a separate folder, at least in this case. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull each of these out and move the MRI scans into their own folder and treat them differently. So I'm going to go and pull everything over 500. Should be here. And move them into here. Do the same thing for the labels. So that we can look at these separately. So now we've identified that the left and the right is different for these guys. We've got to go back and re-import these for the MRI scans. So let's go back to import, and we want to do these for MRI. And in this case, we're not going to reflect the x-axis. Now, to re-import these, we need to make the number of files match up on each side of these lists. So in this case, we have more on the label side than we do on the scan side. And the reason for that is we skipped over some of these files because of the problems with those particular scans in the previous set. So what we can do is we can do the same thing on the label side, as we can just indicate that we want to skip these. So it's 517, 518, and 540. And then if we have this re-update, we now end up with the same number of files in each side, and we can import all of them. And removing the reflection across the x-axis allows us to import these correctly. Once completed, we can review that the import succeeded. And then something to keep in mind is that the left and right side is swapped on the MRI scans with this particular batch of data. So that inherently means that the left and right side does not match up correctly with the CT scans. And that's because the NIFI files that were output for the MRI scans did not include the attribute to designate the reflection across the X and Y scan properly. Let's now review a couple of these scans to see how they look. This now looks like it's lined up better. Same thing here. Now, because we were re-imported, we lost all of our attributes, so we need to go back and add our attributes back for these scans. Batch operation attributes, and let's change to our MRI folder. And now we can again update our attributes for our MRI scans. No, I made a mistake there. I only added kidney and not left, so I can add the left side. It's actually the right side for this one. And so on.